and welcome to part 76 of my report on the McCarrick Report by Patrick Parson. We finally reached part C, McCarrick's responses to the written indications and related Holy See decision-making, August 2008 to June 2009, of Chapter 22 of the McCarrick Report, Holy See decision-making and McCarrick's activity, following Pope Benedict XVI's trip to the United States, and Prefect Re's June 14, 2008 letter to McCarrick, mid-2008 to early 2009. In our last segment, Nuncio Samby hand-delivered Cardinal Re's letter of indications to Cardinal McCarrick on August 22, 2008. The indications in the letter were: A. McCarrick not remain in the Redemptoris Mater Seminary in Washington, D.C., and B. McCarrick conduct a more private life, not accepting invitations in the U.S. or abroad, except for special cases as judged by the Holy See. Today, we see McCarrick's response in a letter written 3 days later, August 25, 2008. McCarrick expresses bewilderment in his letter, since he believed he had been following the wishes of the Holy See in his retirement. As to speaking to groups, McCarrick says, "I have never sought invitations to speak or be part of different groups. They have come from others, usually bishops, who felt that I could be useful." McCarrick also says he shared the letter with Archbishop Wuerl, although a footnote quotes Wuerl as denying McCarrick had ever shown him the letter. And the good Cardinal McCarrick pledges, quote, "I shall always try to be a good servant of the Church, even if I do not understand its desires in my life. Of course, I am ready to accept the Holy Father's will in my regard." Unquote. And then he discusses the two major points of Cardinal Re's letter: the canceling of all public appearances and the change of residence. McCarrick lists the major commitments he already has, commitments which come from bishops who felt McCarrick would be a welcome guest in their diocese. He could cancel a few, but others would be more difficult to cancel since they have been publicized already. He will make no other commitments to speak or appear in public without permission. As far as suddenly moving into a monastery or a home for the elderly, that could make it appear McCarrick was being sidelined for some cause, which would generate the publicity Cardinal Re is trying to avoid. McCarrick suggests 4 possibilities, which he discussed with Archbishop Wuerl, who we have just noted claimed never to have seen the letter. The first possibility, number 1, is to move into a small apartment in the priest faculty building of Seton Hall University, where he would be quietly at home for prayer, study, and writing. Possibility 2 would be to live in one of the parishes of the Archdiocese of Washington. Possibility 3 would be for the Holy See to find an apartment in Rome near the Vatican, which he would pay for. And possibility 4 would be to find a residence in any one of a number of Catholic universities where he could live and work in different areas of quiet study and research. McCarrick also offers to resign from different positions he has and from different offices, although he requests permission to continue his work with Catholic Relief Services on its overseas missions in developing nations, for which there is no publicity, and in the work for peace in the Holy Land, in which he is very much involved, as well as in quiet Catholic-Muslim dialogue. McCarrick closes his letter by reaffirming he will make no commitments to accept any public appearances or talks without permission of the Apostolic Nuncio or the Holy See. McCarrick also includes a list of 25 public commitments he already has in both the United States and abroad. So it appears the ticking bomb has been defused. McCarrick has expressed his willingness to accept whatever the Holy See and the Nuncio decide, although it appears that McCarrick plans to say something about it. In our next segment, we will see how Nuncio Sambi responds. Speaking of responses, how do we respond to God's expectations of us? How will He respond when we stand before Him for our eternal judgment? Perhaps we should keep that in mind while praying the Fatima prayer. O my Jesus, forgive us our sins, save us from the fires of hell, and lead all souls to heaven, especially those in most need of thy mercy.